Hey guys, Levi Carter here with CBFC. We are an outsourced CFO company focused on small businesses, offering bookkeeping, payroll, tax, and consulting services to champion the success of small businesses. I wanted to update you real quick on HR6201 as it has been passed and revised and signed into law since my first video. You can check out my first video if you want more of the nuts and bolts of how this thing works. But I wanted to focus on three quick bullet points as far as revisions. The biggest revision was that Republicans in the Senate obviously advocated for not adding a burden to small businesses, and so within the language is a discretion for the Department of Treasury to give hardship waivers to the owners of small businesses in this case being businesses with under 50 employees. I'm going to walk you through why I don't necessarily think that's going to be a great blanket idea for all small businesses to take advantage of. Here's what I know. If you are a healthy balance sheet company, meaning low debt and high cash, reserves or healthy cash reserves and a healthy amount of debt or no debt at all, I know that if you have the capacity to offer your employees paid time off, many of you, even if you only have a few employees, already have these policies in place, you're going to try to do that. So what you don't want to do, you can't have it both ways. You can't file for the exemption and then take the dollar for dollar refundable payroll tax credit. You've got to choose one or the other. So if you're going to be offering some of these things over the next few weeks to employees, I would advise, and you are a healthy balance sheet company, I would probably advise many of you to go ahead and if you can cash flow until the time of those quarterly payroll tax returns, your 941s, if you can cash flow through that, I would take advantage of the federal reimbursement of you paying for time off for your employees in this unprecedented situation. I would take advantage of that. However, if you are a weak balance sheet organization, high debt, low cash reserves, cash flow is going to be a problem as far as cash flowing to the point of those 941 quarterlies, then obviously avail yourself to the hardship waiver, and that's going to be the right call for you. But I don't think it's a blanket right call for every small business to apply for that. This is not an update. This is the second bullet point, just a reminder. The tax credits that they're proposing for paid time off apply to self-employed people without employees. So if you have to take time off because your child their school is closed, or your child is sick, or to take care of a loved one who's not well, you're going to want to keep records, documents documenting that time off, documenting doctor's visits, school closure notices, things like that, because your tax credit is going to be coming off through the income tax system at the end of the year. Also, if you pay an estimate, so you can plan on that credit, reducing your tax liability, and you can reduce your quarterly estimate. So that's the second bullet point. This applies to all self-employed individuals. First was the hardship waiver, and then finally, the third thing that I wanted to point out to you is that there's a little bit clearer language in this bill regarding what amount of credit, this version of the bill, what amount of credit is applied to what situation. So there's the first, I believe it's reasons A, B, and C in the text of the bill. Those are dollar for dollar, 100% credit, up to that $200 a day. Again, I'll reference you back to my previous video. It's dollar for dollar, 100%. If the second three reasons listed in the bill are things like school closure, child care facility closure, taking care of a sick person, those things are a 66% of dollar for dollar credit. So you don't quite get every dollar of payroll back for those things. Reasons 1, 2, and 3 are as if you're taking care of someone that actually has a COVID-19 diagnosis, or you yourself have a COVID-19 diagnosis from a doctor. Those are 100% refundable. The second second list of reasons, which will apply to most broadly to most people, that'll be 66% of a dollar for dollar credit. I'm not going to go over it in this video, but you need to Google it. To understand these numbers, you need to Google the difference between a tax deduction and a tax credit. A tax credit being far more lucrative, and you'll see how you get most of your money reimbursed through this process. Again, if you can cash flow through the payroll quarterlies. I'm Levi Carter with CBFC, where we are champions of small business.